In the intricate world of global trade, tariffs are key in determining how goods and services flow across borders. Now picture waking up to headlines that send shockwaves through the global economy. Every country has just imposed reciprocal tariffs on U.S. goods in response to President Trump's trade policies. What happens next? Will the U.S. economy falter under the pressure, or will it adapt and fight back? Let's explore this high-stakes economic showdown. These taxes on imports, while aimed at protecting domestic industries or generating revenue, can ignite trade wars and disrupt international trade. The specter of a world where every nation erects tariff barriers against the United States presents a thought-provoking scenario with potentially devastating economic and political ramifications. Tariffs artificially inflate the price of imported goods, making domestically produced alternatives more appealing to consumers. While this may offer a temporary shield to certain industries, it often comes at the expense of overall economic efficiency and consumer welfare. The imposition of tariffs can trigger retaliatory measures from trading partners, leading to a downward spiral of escalating trade barriers and economic harm. The interconnected nature of the global economy means that a disruption in one part of the system can send shockwaves throughout the world. From the disastrous Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930 to the recent U.S. China trade war, history is replete with cautionary tales about the dangers of protectionist trade policies.
The high stakes of global trade today serve as a powerful reminder of the lessons learned from the past, where protectionist policies like the Smoot-Hawley tariff caused widespread economic damage. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930, enacted during the early days of the Great Depression, was designed to protect American industries, but ultimately led to devastating consequences for the global economy. American farmers and businesses by raising tariffs on over 20,000 imported goods. However, instead of providing relief, it triggered a global trade war. Other nations retaliated with their own tariffs, causing U.S. exports to plunge from $7 billion in 1929 to just $2.5 billion by 1932. Farm exports dropped by a third, and international trade collapsed by 65%. Rather than protecting the economy, the act deepened the crisis, strangling global commerce and worsening the Great Depression. More recently, the U.S. China trade war, which began in 2018, provides a contemporary example of the economic and political fallout that can result from tariff battles. The two economic giants engaged in a tit-for-tat exchange of tariffs, targeting billions of dollars worth of each other's goods. The trade war disrupted global supply chains, increased costs for businesses and consumers, and fueled uncertainty in the global economy. These historical examples underscore the importance of approaching tariffs with caution and understanding their potential to destabilize the global trading system.
Imagine a world where every single country unites in a common cause imposing tariffs on goods from the United States. This unprecedented scenario, though seemingly improbable, serves as a valuable thought experiment, forcing us to confront the potential consequences of extreme protectionism. The immediate impact would be felt most acutely by American businesses and consumers. With tariffs driving up the cost of imported goods, American consumers would face higher prices for everything from electronics and clothing to automobiles and food. Meanwhile, American businesses reliant on imported components or raw materials would see their production costs skyrocket, squeezing profit margins and potentially leading to job losses.
Replacing tariffed imports in the U.S. economy is a complex challenge. Canada, Mexico, and China supply 60% of the nation's aluminum, lumber, and energy products, making diversification difficult. Developing alternative energy infrastructure takes years, and the U.S. remains heavily reliant on Canadian electricity, particularly in the Northeast, as well as crude oil due to geographic proximity. As of December 2024, Canada exported 4.2 million barrels of crude oil per day to the U.S. Likewise, nearly one-third of the fruits and vegetables consumed in the U.S. come from these three countries. Domestic agricultural production is constrained by environmental factors, requiring the U.S. to import from more distant regions, which increases logistical hurdles and shipping costs.
The economic fallout from a global trade war targeting the United States would be swift and severe. The interconnectedness of the global economy means that a disruption in one part of the system can quickly cascade into a full-blown crisis. The United States, as the target of this hypothetical trade war, would undoubtedly bear the brunt of the economic pain. This economic shock would ripple through the U.S. economy, impacting everything from consumer spending to business investment and government revenue. The pain wouldn't be confined to American shores. Countries heavily reliant on trade with the United States, such as Canada, Mexico, and China, would experience significant economic slowdowns as their exports plummeted and their economies grappled with supply chain disruptions and reduced demand. The economic turmoil from this global trade war would trigger widespread social and political repercussions.
In the chaotic landscape of a global trade war, identifying clear winners and losers proves a complex task. While some countries and industries might experience short-term gains, the long-term consequences of a fragmented global trading system would likely outweigh any temporary benefits. Countries less integrated into the global economy and those with diversified export markets might find themselves relatively insulated from the worst of the economic fallout. These nations could potentially capitalize on the void left by the United States in certain sectors, increasing their market share and forging new trade relationships. Within the United States, certain domestic industries shielded from foreign competition by tariffs might experience a temporary boom. Who stands to gain from this shift? Countries that rival the US in key industries, such as Brazil in agriculture and China in manufacturing, could expand their market share as global buyers look for alternatives to American products. Conversely, nations heavily reliant on US trade like Canada and Mexico may face economic uncertainty. However, with these tariffs being imposed rather than negotiated, public sentiment could fuel a push for self-sufficiency, prompting consumers to prioritize locally made goods, a trend already gaining traction in Canada. Highlighting this strategic pivot, newly elected Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney chose France and the UK for his first official visit, bypassing the US in a clear effort to diversify trade and security partnerships while reducing dependence on its southern neighbour. The biggest losers? American businesses that depend on international markets and consumers who will feel the sting of higher prices and fewer choices. In the end, everyday consumers would shoulder the weight of these protectionist policies, facing increased costs and reduced product availability.
The political and diplomatic ramifications of a global tariff wall against the United States would be profound. The international community, already grappling with rising tensions and geopolitical rivalries, would find itself navigating a treacherous new landscape defined by distrust, uncertainty, and the specter of economic warfare. Long-standing alliances would be put to the test as nations rethink their economic and strategic priorities. The diplomatic consequences could be severe, with the U.S. potentially responding with even steeper tariffs, escalating into a full-blown global trade war. Allies might drift away, forging new trade agreements that sideline American influence. Would the U.S. seek to renegotiate deals and rebuild relationships or double down on protectionist policies? The world would be watching closely. As a nation long positioned as a global economic leader, the U.S. could find itself more isolated than ever on the international stage.
The hypothetical scenario of a world collectively imposing reciprocal tariffs on the United States highlights the interconnectedness of the global economy and underscores the high stakes of trade policy. While it remains uncertain whether this scenario will unfold, it highlights the potential for protectionist measures to disrupt global trade, leading to economic turmoil and heightened geopolitical instability. As we stand at this crossroads for global trade, it is imperative that nations choose the path of cooperation over confrontation. Upholding the principles of free trade, strengthening the rules-based trading system, and fostering dialogue to resolve trade disputes will be crucial for ensuring a more prosperous and stable future for all. The choices we make today will determine the course of global trade for generations to come. So, what's the takeaway? Trade policies are a double-edged sword, Too much protectionism and economies suffer. Too much dependence and vulnerabilities arise. What do you think? Should nations prioritize self-sufficiency or embrace free trade? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Be sure to check out the related video on your screen for more fascinating content. Explore our channel for even more exciting videos. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Globe Gazette for more incredible stories. Your support means everything to us. We look forward to seeing you in the next video.